Salaam alaikum. Our guest today is going to share a story of self-determination, resilience, and courage. She grew up in Qatar, the youngest of 6 siblings, in a family built on hard work, business, and grit. From an early age, she learned what it meant to show up, to contribute, and to stand on her own feet. At just the age of 15, she moved to the US, a turning point that shaped her independence and sharpened her sense of purpose. While many were still figuring themselves out, our guest was already working, learning, and quietly carving a path that felt true to her. She built a life grounded in commitment and growth, later meeting her husband and becoming the mother of 3 beautiful children, mashallah. Along the way, she made her mark in the corporate world, navigating systems not designed with her story in mind. But comfort was never the end goal for Nadeen. Through lived experience and sharp observation, she noticed a gap in the US market, one that spoke directly to her values, her community, and her vision. And instead of ignoring that, she listened. Today, Nadeen shares her story, the quiet knowing that says, there's more and I'm meant to build it. Thank you, Nadeen, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate that you invited me, and I'm looking forward for this beautiful, beautiful interview.
So let's begin with that little girl that was 15 years old when she left Qatar. When you think about her, what did she lose? And maybe, what did she quietly gain?
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. And this is Nadeen Barghouthi. And what I lost at 15, I think just being around family. I missed my cousins. I missed the gathering in Ramadan. I really, really, really missed the morning of Eid because my dad was the oldest and everybody came to our house. And the house smelled like kak. And the house smelled like, we have a special bread, a Palestinian bread called khubz at-tabi, which is a bread on a little mold, but it's made mainly with flour and spices and mixed with olive oil. So that's the main ingredient, the olive oil. So the whole house smelled like that. That's what I really, really missed the most, the Eid morning.
My goodness, yeah.
And I miss my Barbies.
Yeah.
Yes, at age 15, I was still playing with Barbies. And I had so many books that said Sin and Jim, which is question and answer. And they were beautiful books that I had to leave them behind. They were like at least 30 of them. And I loved them because it was fun time just taking a book and sitting around the family and just asking them questions and gaining knowledge. Yeah. So that's the most things. Of course, also my friends, which I'm still friends with. Like I have about 4 of them that we still connect. Yeah. So alhamdulillah, everything happens for a good reason. Alhamdulillah.
And of course, we're going to talk about what your 15-year-old gained. But if we were to summarize it in a few words, what would it be?
I gained a lot moving to the US. I learned English. I did not speak English at age 15. I learned how to be a hard worker. I learned how to hold my deen close to my heart in a country that, it's diverse. I learned how to build myself from zero up.
Wow, mashallah, tabarakallah. So moving at such a young age could be confusing, right? It may even create this identity where you're trying to figure out who you are. And there's this tension between who you were and who you've become. Do you feel that there were moments in your life where you felt that?
There's always moments in our life we feel that. There's always a moment that we felt, oh, I wish we did this, I wish we did that. But God has a plan for us, and God knows better. It was very, very tough for me moving at age 15, going to high school where I didn't speak English, as I said, no uniform. Kids didn't have respect for the teachers. They chew gum in class. They ate. They put their feet up. And no respect. This was a big, quiet shock for me. Moving forward to the workforce, I started working since I was 15, just learning all these challenges. But I think it shaped the person who I am right now. I think the split identity thing, I think the only challenge that I'm working on is dealing with my children, because we always say to them, when I was your age, I didn't talk this way, we didn't act this way, but we need to learn that we are not back home and we are not in that generation. So that's the biggest challenge I think I'm facing is
Being the youngest of 6, did you feel more invisible or more protected? And do you think it has shaped the way that you show up in the world?
I think I was more protected because I was truly the baby. My oldest sister is 17 years older than me. So it was a very, very challenging moment for my parents to let go and let me move to the US without them. They needed a transition. So they asked me to go to Syria first. So I moved to Syria first. I went to international school there where everything was in English. And that was the first time in my life seeing such grades that I was always an A student back in Qatar. And then moving to Syria, it was just a completely different thing for me. Like new language, even Arabic, I did not do well in that. And then they realized that, all right, this is not the environment for her. So that's when I moved to the US, but they were still super protected. I lived with my sister. She's 17 years older than me. She was and still my second mother. I love her so much. She guided me in everything in my life. She's just amazing. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. She taught me how to drive. I'm a better driver than her, but she taught me how to cook. She taught me how to just be a strong woman.
Allah يخلي لك إياها.
Thank you. And my other sister lives in Oregon as well. Yeah, when I first moved, I moved to Portland, Oregon. So that's where I went to high school and to college there as well. When I was 20 and I was ready to move out, it was also a challenge because I was still the baby, right? I'm still, until today, I'm the baby. At age 49, I'm still the baby.
You're always going to be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So my mom totally disagreed for me moving out of my sister's house until my other sister, she stepped in and she goes, Mama, yes, she's a baby, but she is very, very responsible and all that. So that was, I moved out at age 20. And I had only 1 year to go from college to graduate. But yeah, they're still protective until today.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, mashallah. So we mentioned that you began working at the age of 15. And that's so cute that you mentioned you were still playing with Barbies when you were back in Qatar. And it's an age where a lot of girls are still being cared for, right? How did it shape you through this phase of becoming who you are today?
Starting at age 15, very, very young, I needed this job not because I needed the financial help at age 15. I needed it to learn the language. I needed it to learn independence. I needed it to get to learn the culture, the new culture. So I started working at a restaurant as a host because I couldn't be a waitress because I don't speak the language. So I was just able to say, hi, hello, how many? Follow me. That was it. Those are the only 4 words I needed to learn. So, but then I worked everywhere. And at age 19, first year of college, I lost my dad. Before I lost my dad gave me a call and he said, hey, Nadeen, I went to the bank to send you the tuition, but I can't at this moment. And I immediately had to tell him, hey, I've been a great student. They actually honored me a full scholarship, which they didn't. But I had to say that to him so I won't break his heart that he educated 5 of my children and he got to me and then he couldn't continue his charity basically on us for, علم نافع ينتفع به. So just like, the continuous education basically, right?
Yes.
So I remember I went to the financial aid office and I told them about my situation. They were able to help me a little bit. And then that's when my actual journey started. I started working full time at a bank in the morning and then full-time student in the evening. And just so I can support myself. Alhamdulillah, I supported myself and I did have a loan as well to pay off, but I didn't make my dad feel that he couldn't do what he had to do.
Yeah.
You know?
You didn't let him down.
No, I didn't let him
Yeah.
down. And then at age 19, my father passed away. And that was a heartbreaking situation for me because when I used to live in Qatar, I mean, we lived in a residential status, visa, whatever it's called, iqama, residency. And we had to renew it every 6 months.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go that year to renew it due to exams at my college. And I'm like, what's going to happen? I can just apply for a visa. Well, my dad got sick. And when I tried to apply for the visa, they wouldn't take it because I didn't have my US citizen passport yet. I had my certificate, but not the passport. I had to apply for it, get it fast, apply for my visa, and I got it for 10 years, multiple entry, but it was too late. So this was until today. Until today, I wish that I never canceled my residency in Qatar. And I wish that I was able to talk to my instructors and tell them, hey, let me take the exam early or later or whatever, just to go and keep it going. You know, this is what happened. But alhamdulillah for everything. Allah yarham. Thank you.
So you mentioned that you are coming from a family of hardworking business owners. Did you ever feel that your value was tied to productivity? And do you see today that it's something that stayed with you, or is it something you had to unlearn?
So my dad was a business owner and he was a very, very hard worker, mashallah, Allah yarhamu. And he was to travel to Italy and France to get the inventory. He took me with him a couple of times. I was probably 10 or 12, around that age. But I learned a lot from him. I learned how if you want to be someone, you have to work on it. You have to work on yourself. Don't say just inshallah and depend on Allah. You know, that's fine. Say inshallah and work on it and depend on Allah. Have your trust in God for sure, but we don't just say inshallah and sit back. You have to work hard. You have to work to see your results. And he taught us all how to do that. He was my hero and still my hero. You know, I learned from him how to if I want something, I work hard for it to get it, whether it was my education, whether it was, you know, a job interview, whether it was just buying a dress, whether buying a car or whatever. If I want it, work hard, have a plan, and then tawakkal ala Allah, put your trust in God and go for it.
So do you think that until today, Nadeen feels that her value is tied to productivity? Do you constantly feel like you have to keep going?
I have to keep going. We always have to keep going. You know, I think we are put on earth for purpose.
Yeah.
To keep going and to keep giving. You know, if I can't keep going physically, I have to keep going mentally. And if I can't keep going mentally, I have to keep going, you know, by giving or by words or by, you know, I have to keep going. That's my purpose on earth, not just to eat and drink and sleep.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your journey with motherhood. Motherhood often sharpens our inner hero. You know, you start to feel like this is a whole different life that's growing inside. And what parts of you expanded after becoming a mother?
My brain.
I love that.
I think my brain. I'm blessed with 3 children. Yeah. My oldest is 24 and then 20 and 18.
MashaAllah.
Thank you. I learned a lot and I'm still learning. Like my kids go, my youngest, no, my oldest, she goes, why are you not doing this with Zayn? I'm like, because I learned. Because, okay, why did you do, so I feel bad for my oldest just because
Yeah.
basically my experiment. Alhamdulillah, they're good kids, but still, we all have challenges with our kids, whether, at school, personal life, whether at, the environment around us is not too sweet.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. So during school, like we had the challenges of bullying or the challenges of why why you look in a certain way, dress in a certain way, things like that.
And your oldest is a hijabi,
Yeah.
mashallah.
Yes, she is a hijabi. Inshallah, I'll be one sometime soon.
Inshallah.
you know. But yeah, with her, like she was going to school in UT Austin and she called me, she's like, Mama, I think I'm gonna wear the hijab. Are you okay with that? I'm like, Mama, you're an adult, But even though like she was in Austin and it was easy for her because even though Austin is very like the demographics of it is different than Dallas, but still like some people were not welcoming her hijab.
Yes, I can totally understand. Yeah.
But going back to your question, what expanded in my motherhood, I really think you learn a lot. You learn how to become more patient. You learn how to give and not to expect, not wanting anything back.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yes.
just want to give without expecting anything back because I don't want anything back. I was just telling my daughter the other day that I was driving and there was a truck in front of me filled with logs. And the way it was wrapped, it was dangerous. Like I was thinking when I was driving, I'm like, La samahallah, if something happens and get in a car accident, these logs will definitely fall. And immediately I'm like, if I'm driving and any of my children or my husband was on this, the passenger side, I'm going to jump on them just to protect them. I really I'm going to jump with my back, like back to the windshield. So I will protect them. And this is how you think. When you're a mother, you just want to have all this, you pour your heart out for love and protection, even though they think that we're rough and tough, but I keep telling them this is tough love.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
you just need to learn how to. It's inside. Subhanallah, like we promised heaven, and every mother knows why we're promised heaven because we do a lot for them.
That's a beautiful story you shared. That really is an example of that endless love that a mother has, subhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Thank you.
And then that feeling of being responsible for others when you are responsible for your children. Usually it changes, the risks that we're willing to take in our life because you're now responsible, right, of those kids. So how did Nadeen adapt to that?
Nadeen used to love roller coasters, and I don't. I stopped after I had my first child because we need to learn that what we used to love and want to do all the time, now you have a responsibility. You can't just do everything. You have to adjust your life for the ones that means the most to you. And I had to adjust a lot of things in my life just so I can cater for my own children and my family, because that's what love is. It's, you have to I'm not saying put myself aside. Alhamdulillah, I take care of myself and, I enjoy my time and all that, but in a safe way. So I know that God is the protector, but we have to make our decisions that we always have to give and we always have to take care of our children and also the people we love the most. Like my mom was visiting me last October And she got sick, and I had to pause everything. I had to launch my business, and I had to put it on pause because I had to take care of her. That's more important. So you have to know, you have to weigh what's more important in your life, even if it's my own business and all that. But mom is more important.
Yeah, priorities.
Priorities, exactly. So, yeah, alhamdulillah, like we're blessed that we have these kind of emotions and this kind of heart that we can always give, because we are able to always give,
Yeah. SubhanAllah. So you grew up in the States when you moved. You grew up and lived in Oregon. And then tell us a little bit about how you met your husband and how long you've been in Texas.
All right. I moved to Portland, Oregon in 92, and I loved it. I call it a live painting.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. Portland's a beautiful city. It's an hour and a half away from the ocean, hour and a half away from the mountains. It's just gorgeous. The farms, it was just absolutely beautiful, going to the farms and collecting your own eggplants and tomatoes and blueberries, and it's just fresh farmers market all the time, all the season. I loved it because my sisters were there. I loved it because when my uncle moved here back in the 50s, he was able to bring a lot of my aunts and cousins and everybody. So we had a huge family in Oregon, a lot. So I loved it. My cousins, my sisters, my aunts, my uncles, it was just fun, moving in 2009. I had a call from my cousin's wife, and she's like, I was just talking to her and she handed the phone over. I thought I was talking to my cousin, and I'm like, hold on a minute, who's this? He goes, my husband. Well, he wasn't my husband then, but he's like, he gave me his name, and I'm like, and who are you? And then anyways, I'm like, he goes, can I have your number? I'm like, no, you're weird. I'm not giving you my number. So anyways, my cousin's wife called me and she's like, Nadeen, can he at least get your email or something? I said, fine, give him my email. So I gave him my email. We emailed for over a month, and I didn't show him my picture, and I didn't want to see his picture, because I believe that if I want to marry someone, and I want to love them for who they are, not for the way they look, not for the way they sound, not for anything. So we were emailing for over a month.
Wow.
Yes. And then finally, I gave him my phone number and we talked. And then he called me back and he goes, I booked a ticket to Portland. He was in Dallas, Texas, by the way. So he booked a ticket. He came to Oregon. We met. He met the family. And then he kept coming to Oregon once a month until, I knew he was the one. Such an amazing man. MashaAllah. God bless him. He's great to his family. He's great to he's great to our family. He's just one generous man with everything. He always puts himself he puts everybody else before him. Everybody, whether he knows them or not. God bless his heart. Very hard worker, alhamdulillah. He loves us. He loves his children. He's just he's always there. He's always there. Like I have an event planned February 8th, and it's Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. But he's going to be with me. Yeah. I'm like, wow, this is love. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So alhamdulillah, he's a good guy. So we met and we got married November of 2000. And he promised we stay in Dallas for 2 years, and then we moved back to Oregon. 25 years, and I'm still here in Dallas.
Yeah, 25 years. Wow, that's a long time. Yeah. So you also got into the corporate world, and I am very curious to hear your journey in the corporate world before we jump into talking about, of course, your business.
I graduated in 2009 with a computer information systems and management degree. I immediately got a job with McAfee and then with Intel. Both were contract positions. And when I moved to Dallas, I started working with GE Healthcare. I was a quality assurance engineer. So I started as a QA for since I graduated until 2020. So I moved to a lot of different companies like GE Healthcare, and then Google acquired my last company, and they had to let go of everybody except the management. My manager back then, he didn't want to move to Google. He established his own company, and he just picked 5 people with him, and I was one of them. I worked with him for about 7 years, and then I've decided just to quit. And I quit my job in 2020, right before COVID started, like January 2020, I think. And then COVID hit, and a lot of people lost their jobs. The job market was
Yeah, there was a crash.
a crash. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. Alhamdulillah, I'm much better. But when I felt better to go back to the market, and I applied for jobs, and when I get interviews and all that, when they know that I was out for 4 years, then they don't want that. They didn't want that, even though I had an experience of 22 plus years. But that's fine. And yeah, so after that, I was trying to get back to the market, but then the genocide started, and I've decided not to work for a corporate. I decided to open my own business, and that's my IT journey ended in 2024.
Okay. So your IT journey ended in 2024.
Actually, it ended in 2020. Ended in 2024 because I couldn't find anything.
Do you think there was a part of you that had to grieve the Nadine that worked in the corporate world before you started diving into your new business?
No, because I always had a business mind. I always wanted
Right.
to become
Yes.
like open my own business. My corporate life was fun because I worked with a lot of great companies, great groups, and great people. I'm still friends with so many people since 99, when I worked back in Intel and McAfee. But I always had this business brain because my dad was a businessman, and as I said that he always took us with him, and I was always at the store. So I always excited about opening my own business. But whenever I wanted to, something held us back. We couldn't take risk. Our financials were not stable enough to do so. Make sure, okay, we have 3 kids. We have to make sure that we can, save for their college and save for their education and all that, and to give them a good life. And that's why I was like, all right, let me just build myself in the corporate world until we get to a point that we can probably risk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you noticed a gap in the US market, right? So take us back to that moment when you started to get excited about this business idea.
Yes. So it was in 2024 when we were invited to a wedding. And as we mentioned earlier, my oldest is a hijabi. And I went looking for a nice dress for her. I couldn't find a modest dress that is modest and elegant at the same time. There's even online, I couldn't find that something that fits what she was looking for. She was 23 at that time. So anyways, I ended up buying her a very, very expensive dress. And I had to alter it just so it will fit the hijabi style. And that's when the light bulb turned on. I'm like, we're missing a big thing in Dallas. Not only in Dallas, like around the US, that we need elegant, beautiful dresses, and for hijabis and non-hijabis, but at least they're modest. So that's when my idea came along. And then I just woke up that morning after the wedding, and I was like, you know what? Starting my own business. I researched it, I Googled it, and I called a couple of respected people here. They guided me on what to do and how to start my LLC. I registered. It was so fast. Like, I registered it in July, and I booked a ticket, went to Turkey. I went to 2 convention centers, and then I went to beautiful, beautiful stores there, got my inventory, shipped it, and started. And I launched December 5.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so proud and so happy that you were able to do what you were dreaming about. So, Nadine, what was harder? Recognizing that there's a gap in the market or trusting yourself enough to act upon it?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I think I didn't doubt myself that I can start because I've been dreaming to open my own business, whether everybody wanted me to open my own restaurant, but I can't. I can't cook for everybody. I cook for people I love. I can't just cook for everybody. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility as well. So food was out of my mind. Trusting myself and the gap that's what's needed in the market. I think the harder one was trusting the market than trusting myself, because I know I can do it. And if I couldn't do it, I would have got some obstacles in the way, but I didn't. Alhamdulillah, like the LLC got approved. I got a ticket. I traveled. I was able to get tickets for the convention centers, things like that. So everything was, alhamdulillah, very smooth. It's just getting the word out. And that's what I'm scared of right now, because I know it's a needed market. I know it's needed, whether in our community or other communities, because nowadays you go to shop either online or retail stores, you cannot find a dress that's, either modest or semi-modest. They're either way too open from the front, the back, way too short. So there's not a complete package.
Inshallah khair, inshallah khair. We're wishing you all the best. And Nadine, when doubt comes in, creeping through the mind, what are some of those, I want to say, what are the strategies or maybe even the values that Nadine is holding on to get through this?
Alhamdulillah, I put my trust in Allah. So if I'm going to back up a little bit with this answer, when I was diagnosed with cancer, all my family and all my friends, they were like, Inshallah khair, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm not worried. You guys are worried. I put my trust in God, and what's going to happen is going to happen, right? I've been doing this a lot, and actually cancer taught me how to do this, that God has a plan for me, whether I get out of this cancer, fully recovered or not, I can't change it. It's not a haircut. It's not a haircut that I want a short haircut, or a hairstyle that I want it curly or straight. It's not something I control, And when it comes to the business, with that, I'll be lying to you if I say I'm not scared that it's not going to pick up, or I'm not scared that, I'm going to lose. But I put this in my mind. There's no business that opens and is a winner the first year. No way.
Absolutely.
So I put that in my head. I planted it in my head and my husband's head that, you know what, this year might be a loss.
Yes.
Because it will take about 12 to 18 months to people trust Tajis, to trust my product, to know who I am, to get the word out, to understand this business line. And for me too, like a lot of people ask me, you only sell formal dresses. Do you have casual wear? No, I don't. But now I see what they need and what they're looking for. Maybe I can introduce this. It will help me out. So instead of just sitting in a corner and crying about it, I put a plan. Okay, these are the cons and the pros and what needs to be improved, and how I can make things better for this business and how I can grow it better, And just sitting there and being scared, nothing's going to help it. Nothing's going to help it.
Yeah. Wa ni'ma billah. I believe you 100%. So we know our children learn a lot from listening, but they learn way more from watching us, right? So what does Nadine hope her children are going to learn from watching you pivot and watching you take risks and build something from the ground up?
Wow, that's a nice question. I think that they have been learning a lot. They learned that if you want something, you work for it. If you want to get an A in your class, you have to work for it, work hard. If you want to put yourself out there, you have to find a way, whether, advertising it, whether talking about it. Like it's funny because I walk around and I see hijabis at the store. I'm like, I introduce myself. So I taught them that don't be scared. Talk to people and tell them, hi, my name is Nadeen. I'm the owner of Taji's. I started my new business. Would you like my business card? I go to a lot of the new coffee places around the DFW areas. And when I'm sitting down and I see young ladies studying, I do interrupt. I feel bad, but I do interrupt. They need a 5-minute break, right? So they're learning from me how to not to give up and keep going and keep trying because, just keep going. That's how we're built, to keep going. We're built to believe in God. And for you to build a 5-story building, you have to dig underground 5 stories, right? You have to have this foundation. You can't just build it from ground up. It will fall. Yes. So you have to go down in order to go up. So, and even if we go down, at least we tried. I always told my kids, if your absolute best grade in your math class is a C, I'll take it. If you tried, I will not make you repeat that class because you know what? That was your best trying grade. But if you got a C just because you're sitting back watching, TikToks or playing around and doing nothing, then no, I'm going to make you retake it and get an A+ in that class because I know your ability, So they learned a lot. They learned how to talk to people. They're learning who to trust. They're learning how to not to believe everything. Like I had some, like when I first launched my business account got hacked into. So they learned how, all right, okay, we have to watch our credit card. We have to watch, So they're learning a lot from me and I share these stories with them because they will get these kind of stories in their normal life, not just in their business life. Yes. So alhamdulillah, they're learning a lot. They're learning how to help each other, like to making them help me tagging my dresses and bagging them and unpacking and things like that. So they're learning how we're family. We have to stick with each other. Like I said, my husband, my son, why would they care about these dresses? But they do it because they care about their mother, the owner of this store. Yeah. So that's what it is. Oh, you're teaching them so much, mashallah. Yeah. So Nadeen, for the women listening who feel the pull to do something different, but they're afraid, give me a couple of words that you want to share with them. Don't be afraid, Don't be afraid. First, you need to put your tawakkul, your trust in God. And if you really dream of becoming anybody, you want to become, a business owner, you want to become a teacher, you want to become a mother, you want to get married or whatever, put your trust in God and have a plan and study it well. Just put your tawakkul on Allah. That's all I can say. Because if you fail, don't be upset. It's a good experience. You learn from your mistakes and you learn from what you've done right and what you've done wrong. And inshallah, you'll do better the next time. I learned something today. I read something today on Instagram. It said something like, don't think that you failed because you tried. So always try. Always, put your trust in God and try. If it's something good, God is going to help you with it. If something you're going to be helping other with it, helping yourself, helping the community, God will guide you through it for sure. Thank you for your honesty, your openness, and your heartfelt advice to everybody. It's such a pleasure having you here with us, Nadeen. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And good luck to you. Good luck to you too. Thank you. So thank you.